Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, My Classroom with Prema Today in this video, I will be discussing class 9th ICSE syllabus digestive system. In the last video, we have seen about mouth, the teeth and the tongues. Now in this video, I will be teaching you the salivary glands. So everyone, get ready with your paper and pen and let's start. The very first question that comes in our mind is, what is a gland? So gland is an organ that makes one or more substances such as hormones, digestive juices, sweat, tear, saliva or milk. We can classify glands into two, endocrine glands and exocrine glands. Endocrine glands will release the substances directly into the bloodstream, whereas the exocrine glands will release the substance into a duct or opening to the inside or outside of the body. The major glands of the endocrine system includes ovaries, pancreas, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland and many other. When we talk about exocrine glands, examples we can say sweat glands, salivary glands and the mammary glands, where the secretions are secreted into ducts, not directly into the bloodstream. So here we are concerned about the salivary glands. So salivary glands are a kind of exocrine glands. Exocrine glands. So students, the saliva is secreted by three pairs of salivary glands: parotid, submandibular and sublingual. The first parotid glands, they are located just in front of and beneath each ear on both the sides. Second, submandibular glands, they are lying close to the inner side of the lower jaw on each side, and sublingual glands, they are located below the tongue. You can clearly see the ducts here. These ducts are going to transport the secreted saliva into the mouth. And remember, small quantity of saliva is always secreted by these glands. All time saliva is being secreted by these glands, but in a small quantity. When we are eating something, this salivary flow started increasing, and sometimes even the sight or the smell or just the thought of a tasty food can cause increased flow of saliva. Also results in watering of mouth. For example, your mouth waters when you squeeze lemon juice on your tongue. The physiological response to sour taste is increased saliva production, which is caused by increased muscle contraction and the salivary gland activity. So, the brain associates sour food with mouth watering because your salivary glands produce more saliva when you see sour foods to dilute the sourness. Students, when we talk about saliva, let me tell you, saliva is very slightly acidic. The pH is 6.8. It is a fluid which contains 99% of water, salt, mucus and an enzyme called as salivary amylase, also known as ptyalin. Now, I will talk about the functions of saliva. The very first and important function of saliva is to moisten and lubricate. So, what is going to moisten and lubricate? Saliva is going to moisten and lubricate the inner lining of the oral cavity and the surface of the tongue. This will help in speaking and swallowing. Secondly, they will also moisten and lubricate the food that we are eating. Okay, so that food is also moistened and lubricated, which will again help in swallowing. The second important function is the saliva act as a solvent. See students, the food particles need to be in a solution in order to stimulate the taste receptor cells in the taste bud. So the saliva help the food particles to dissolve to stimulate the taste bud of the tongue. So in the mouth, the food become the solute and the saliva become the solvent, dissolve the food particles, and thus the taste buds of the tongue will get stimulated. The next function of saliva is that it helps the food particles to stick together, just like a glue. Okay, वो चिपका देता है सब food particles को आपस में, and thus a bolus is formed. And now this bolus is easily swallowed by us. Okay, so it helps the food particles to stick together to form a bolus, so that they can be swallowed in a mass. Saliva also help in maintaining the water balance in the body. How? Students, the dryness in the mouth gives a feeling of thirst to replenish the body water. Students, it's your body's way of telling you to drink more water. See students, it's very easy. थर्स्ट कब लगेगा? जब माउथ में ड्राइनेस होएगा. और ड्राइनेस कभी होएगा? जब सलाइवा में पानी का कंटेंट कम हो जाएगा. पानी का कंटेंट कम हो गया मतलब वाटर बैलेंस हमारा हिल रहा है. सो सलाइवा हेल्प इन मेंटेनिंग द वाटर बैलेंस इन द बॉडी एंड thus telling us to drink more water. Saliva also help in cleaning the mouth and destroying the germs present in the mouth and thus preventing the tooth decay. As of now, we are talking about digestive system. So the very important function is it digests the starch. As I already told you, saliva contain an enzyme called as ptyalin, which convert the starch into maltose. Thus, the starch in presence of ptyalin, the salivary amylase present in saliva is get converted into maltose. Students, before we go further and learn swallowing and peristalsis, let's first see our oral cavity and learn few new parts of this cavity. As you can see in this picture, you can see lips, teeth and tongue. These three are the familiar parts. Then other parts are the soft and the hard palate. The front part of the upper jaw, the upper palate, the roof of the mouth. The front part is the hard palate, and as we go inside our mouth, back side में is the soft palate. In the down portion you can see here is the floor of the mouth. And this part is uvula, and uvula is also a part of your gag reflex. What is gag reflex? See students, when something touches this area of the soft palate, it induces gagging, like a vomiting sensation. So uvula is a part of your gag reflex. It's a kind of safety feature. If your uvula senses that something is going down the wrong way, it corrects, making an effort to avoid choking. And these two soft lumps in your throat at the back of your mouth are the tonsil. It's a part of your immune system. It stops the germs entering the body through mouth or through nose. This is epiglottis. It is a flap of cartilage which is located in the throat, behind the tongue and in front of the larynx. And this epiglottis is usually upright at the rest, which allow air to pass into the larynx and the lungs. Students, we are going to see how are all these parts helpful in swallowing the food. In swallowing, there are several simultaneous actions. The tongue will press upward and backward against the roof of the mouth. This will force the bolus, the chewed food, which is in the shape of a ball now, which will force this bolus into the throat, that is the pharynx. The back part of the roof, that is a soft palate, now close the opening between the throat and the nasal passage. Now, after passing from the oral cavity, it reaches the throat. So, to prevent this bolus entering the respiratory system, entering the larynx, the epiglottis works. The larynx being located at the entrance of the windpipe is pulled upwards close to the back of the tongue, which will help the epiglottis to close the opening of the windpipe and allowing the passage for the swallowed food to enter into the esophagus, that is the food pipe. स्टूडेंट्स बाई चांस अगर कभी फूड स्वॉलो हो जाता है और हमारे विंड पाइप में चले जाता है तो इमीडिएटली बाय कफिंग, ओके, बाय कफिंग दिस फूड इज फोर्सिबली थ्रोन आउट बाय आवर बॉडी. So the epiglottis plays a very important role in swallowing and making the food, making the bolus entered in the right path. I hope everyone have understood the different salivary glands, the function of saliva, the composition of saliva and the swallowing process. Everyone do like, share and subscribe to my channel, My Classroom with Prema Ma'am. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.